Today was the Heber Valley Chamber State of our Valley address, and they do this every year, and I really, really enjoy going and being able to learn about what we have going on in our community, and I always recap it for you guys, so here we go. First, we heard from the mayor of Midway, Celeste Johnson. She talked about the priorities of Midway, and remember, I'm looking at my notes. Main Street zoning. She wants to make sure that people want to come there with shops and restaurants, focusing on the charm and keeping it rural. The second is open space. They just got another $5 million bond. And their goal with this one is they want to buy some smaller parcels, so like the 5 acre and the 10 acre, to be able to keep some of those pockets of that open space within the community. She also is aware that this impacts affordable housing, and they're doing what they can to try and address that. Don't really have anything right now to talk about on that, though. They are also talking about the police force. So they have a contract with the Heber Police Department in order to help be there and be a presence there in the community, because as they grow, they need more people and more police presence, but they're not quite ready for a full force. So they're talking about the trail system expansion and connection. They've gotten a lot of grants. Their current one is $1 million grant, the North Center Street Trail. They also got a grant for the ice skating and the building that goes along with it. They also have portions of the TAP, which is the Trails, Arts, and Parks Pass, or Parks Tax, that is divided between Midway, Heber, and the county, and they're getting a lot from that. And one of the things she pointed out is 60% of these taxes are coming from the tourists and our tourism that's coming into the community, which means that 60% of the people shopping in our stores are not local, which I thought was very interesting. She has also said there will be a lighted intersection at River Road and Main Street. It will happen this year. There's also the new helmet law that is in place for any motorized vehicles. So all of the scooters and the bikes that everyone's riding, there are helmet laws in place. And the trails probably won't have a defined use because it's very hard for them to be able to make sure people are following those rules. So they're hoping that with laws like the helmet law, that will help protect people. Heber, we had the mayor, Heidi Franco. She talked about the well-being survey, which there is a link that I can put in the comments at some point if you're interested in looking at that. They talked about the focus of our community, open space, small town and character. The concerns are traffic, water, and open and green space, but she talked about the Muirfield Park conservation easement, so that will be expanding hopefully this year, maybe in the spring. The new Coyote Canyon Parkway also has a new park coming in that also will be finished, she thinks, by the end of this year. Priorities are the Olympics for the downtown, the band shell. It's a little bit delayed, but is still being finished. Pedestrian walkway, zoning code changes, and increased parking. So that's all the focus on the downtown. Also hoping for some traffic improvements. One thing they are doing is on 100 West, between 200 North and 200 South, they're going to be putting in some parking options for parallel parking. And a new street is going to be at 150 East from 1200 South up to the auto zone. So running kind of by the new fire department there. So I thought that was of interest. There will be a new signal by the end of the year at the Coyote Canyon Parkway and I-40. The few parks that are coming in, the Coyote Springs we just talked about, will be done by Memorial Day. The Muirfield Park expansion they hope to have this year. And the parks in the cemetery building are in completion and also something they hope to have done this year. We heard from the school district and the focus on encouraging students to do college, to do well in school, also to do trades programs, which was kind of neat. They looked at the college admission survey and found that there's been a shift of focus. So it's not so much focused on like ACTs, but also focused on the kids and how many college classes they participate in while they're in high school. It said 76% of the kids in our current school will probably be done with Math 1050 by the time they graduate, which is really awesome. If they continue to do that, they may not have to take college math when they actually end up going. We heard from Mark from the county. I love the new slogan, which is better by nature. So that's kind of what they're focusing on. He talked a lot about all of the areas that they serve. Current population is between 37 and 38,000. Again, doubling, going to be at least 60,000 within the next 10 to 15 years. He talked about the bypass. He said by this spring, we'll get some of those alternative options. Next spring, they'll have made a decision for that, and then they'll start working on it. Also talked about the allocation for the units for this population increase are already approved. For example, the Jordanelle Basin alone will have 10,000 approved units. And then he did a great explanation of what MIDA is. And MIDA is the Military Infrastructure and Development Agency, and they are a military agency, and they are run by the state. So this whole Jordanelle division, basically the state allocated that location for the military or the MIDA group, and they're the ones that have approved all of the housing in there. So it's not a county thing, it's a state thing. The state has approved that, and we get 25% of the taxes for the next 40 years. 75% of that goes to MIDA, and then at that point in time, they will become part of the county, and MIDA contracts with Wasatch County for all of their services. So I thought that was very interesting. We are clearly still growing. There's so much going on in our valley. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to see if I can answer them.